crazy.
What's up, everybody? This is a totally different video to what you probably subscribe for. You guys probably really like the Reddit videos, but if you ever look in the past of my channel, I used to do a lot of political videos, and I want to bring that back a little bit. Not too much, but it's a passion thing for me. It really makes me happy when I make these type of videos. So you might be wondering why I even really went to the Women's March, like what was the point of it? And it was because I'm the type of person to really want to see something for myself. I don't like to take other people's words for face value, so I always hear that the Women's March is just an SJW like cesspit. There was really no conversation being had, and just to some extent that was true. That was at least what I saw, but I think there was a little bit something else that I got from it. You can tell I'm not scripted. This is not scripted at all. It's just me talking. But yeah, I think I got something else from it that's a little bit more significant, and you'll find out what that is later in the video. So let's talk about how I even got there. So the march was scheduled to start at 10 o'clock, and the actual movement of the march was going to start from 12 to 2. So that was the whole plan. I needed to get down to DC right around 9:30 so I could figure out where I was going to be in the march, because it was going to be so crowded. So I wanted to also make sure that I fit in so people wouldn't, be like apprehensive to answering questions if I were to want to interview them. So I wore like this big scarf and like a slouch hat and all this stuff just so I could look like I fit in, like I belong. And I was on my way, so I had to go on the mark for like 7 different stops all the way down to Metro Center. That's where everybody was meeting up. And I don't know when the trains got updated, but oh my goodness, they look so much better now. Like everything's automated. There's like no real people telling you when the when the actual stops are coming, so that's crazy. I also wore boots because I thought I was gonna get in a fight. Because I was really there. I was like, I'm not gonna be confrontational, but if I say the wrong thing to the wrong soy boy, he might want to swing on me. So let's make sure I'll be able to curb stomp someone if anybody wants to get silly. So yeah, we made our way down there. People were already bringing out their signs on the train. Same thing with when we got off. Everybody else was pulling their signs out and already like starting the protest, like 3 different blocks away from the actual march. But it's whatever. That was expected. A lot of the signs were pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. A lot of them were pretty loud with their political, statements, but I guess that's what you expected a protest to be. I don't think you would be subtle at a women's march, but yeah. So when I first got in, I was really upset that I couldn't record fully because I had to keep my camera like right around my chest because everybody was so close together. There was like a couple thousand people out there. So, and I'm not the tallest person in the world, but it made me look so short. Like all the shots are essentially someone's back. It was absolutely ridiculous. But what I tried to do was like position myself in such a way where I have a good vantage point over heads, because you realize it was a women's march, so everybody out there was 5'2" or shorter. So it was really easy to get like wide shots. A lot of the chants were what you expected. Like a lot of them were anti-Trump, anti-Kavanaugh. That was a big one. Like a lot of people said that, like, were screaming that he was a rapist, even though it was alleged, but it was whatever. There was a couple of witches out there too that were talking about, putting out hexes on like Republicans and shit.
I really like your are you guys like real witches? Is that what that is dope. That is cool. All right.
I tried to interview them, but they were on a weird angle and I couldn't quite record them. So I looked at their signs and I tried to take a picture of them. But yeah, the initial crowding of the march was insane. It was really loud. They put out a lot of this like weird SJW like rap music. It was the beat was good, but the lyrics were cringy as fuck, but it was whatever. It was what it is. So the real march didn't start until like 30 minutes after I arrived. I arrived there at like 9:30. And already, like even being 30 minutes early, there was so many people, and there was so many people selling like the same merchandise, like the same shirts. It was crazy. But yeah, like I had this initial feeling of going out there and being like, oh, everybody's gonna be so annoying, so confrontational if I ask them questions. But it turned into this type of feeling of positivity. Like everybody was so happy and they were smiling, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Not everybody is out there just to be argumentative and confronting each other, right? Because there were a few counter protests. Like there was a few individuals wearing MAGA hats and stuff like that, but there was like 10 of them. Like nobody was really out there. They were the last individuals from like the March for Our Lives the day before. So that was interesting that they really ignored them and they just were walking around being happy. But what I noticed really was that everybody was carrying a selfie stick. They were carrying like these enormous poles and just taking selfies and talking about how they were going to post it on Instagram and how they were going to talk about it afterwards. And there was a lot of families out there, but there weren't fathers. It was just a lot of mothers and daughters. And I overheard like some saying, oh, well, she had like a swim practice, or she had something else to do, but I really wanted to bring her here so we could take a picture and post it on Instagram. You know, she'll remember this forever. I'm like, what is this really march about? I thought it was about, you know, women's issues, not a photo opportunity or an opportunity to look like you're virtue signaling, you know, stuff like that. But really what showed me that it was all about virtue signaling is that all the dudes that were there were essentially holding signs saying that they were a good boyfriend for being a good feminist. And I'm like, oh my god, you're compensating because you know you're gonna lose your girlfriend. At least that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my god. And there's this one dude who was just dancing around with the sign, and he was just trying to get all the girls' attention. And I'm like, dude, these girls hate you. Half of these girls are like lesbians. They're not interested in you. But he was like, film me, dude, film me.
Hey, everything. Oh my god. Thank you, boy. Oh god, you look ridiculous.
So he was just dancing with this sign about how being a good dude is being a good feminist. I'm like, oh my lord, this soy is real. But yeah, I made that realization a little further in when the march began at 10 o'clock. We started walking down the street, and more people started bringing out cameras and taking pictures, and it was slowing up the march. It was actually making people come together a little bit too close, so I couldn't film the majority of that because everybody would be in my way. I would be filming someone's back, essentially. So that was frustrating. But anyway, that was what I realized, is that the Women's March wasn't about women. It was about the opportunity to look like a good person. And when I realized that, I tried to seek out individuals who actually had posters and placards about things that weren't typical, like fuck Trump or fuck Kavanaugh or I don't like X, Y, and Z because it's against women.
Donald Trump has got to go. Gotta keep it going.
She was really into it.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
The wage gap, Black Lives Matter. I tried to look for shit that wasn't typical, and there was a few people who I met who were really nice, but said some key things, so let's listen to what they said.
Good stuff out here, guys.
Keep your policies off my body. Well, okay, so I've been hearing about all this Me Too stuff, and I don't know. This is my first march of everything. So, like, can you like educate me about all your stuff and like what are you guys doing?
All
right.
All right. Mine's is about reproductive health and policy.
Okay.
I know, like in Ohio. So in Ohio, they have like the heartbeat bill, and they're trying to like make after 6 weeks you can't have an abortion, which is fucked up because after 6 weeks you don't even know you're pregnant. So you don't even get the chance to even have that option. So mine's is about reproductive health and keeping policies.
What's yours about?
Mine's fighting the fact that we don't have intersectional feminism.
All right, so I've been hearing that term.
So intersectional feminism is the fact that, like, why did black trans women? Because or trans women of color. I take that back. Roxina she was killed in an ICE facility.
Ooh.
And it's on average like 30 trans women a year are killed, but that's just reported ones of color, and they don't make it to the age of 40 usually.
Oh.
And I'm considering there's probably only a couple million black or people of color, trans women of color.
There's only
not
312 million people in the United States.
Oh yeah, not even a couple million.
I love her so much.
She's fucking smart. Isn't that crazy?
She's having excuse me.
This bitch is not letting anyone mansplain her. We don't.
I've been hearing that term too. What is mansplaining?
Let me mansplain
explain mansplaining to you.
What is
That was going to be my post.
I was gonna explain mansplaining, but then I would be
Mansplaining. So mansplaining is when you like know something about a topic and you're like talking about it, and some guy like comes. Usually
like act like he knows better.
Oh.
I get that every fucking day at work.
Oh.
That's my name.
Oh my god, that's my girlfriend. I get that when you shut up. I'm like, I know things too.
Okay.
Out my face.
I'm an engineering major, you know, I walk into a class and there's 4 girls and 20 men and I have to explain stuff to them.
And there's like,
And they're like, ugh.
It's really
Yeah.
popular in like areas where there's like a lot more men that know like comics.
Okay.
Like if you like know a lot about comics, and you're
but
like,
did
this
you
is
now? I'm like,
actually this, and you're like, yeah, I know, like
Oh.
I know that.
They just try to
Okay.
explain to you like simple shit that you should know.
They're
That you
just
know
it's
already.
really-
And,
It talks to you like you're ignorant.
yeah, and it's really irritating.
Okay.
Demeaning, that's the word.
Okay.
Like, very demeaning.
All right.
Educating.
So my prerogative in going to meet them was to act really ignorant about the entire protest so they could drop their guard, so I can really just ask them any question and really figure out why they're there. And regardless if what they said was incorrect or hyperbolic or overblown, they seemed to be there for totally different reasons. They were there to just, I guess, mingle and have fun. And I realized that the entire march wasn't serious. It wasn't necessarily about politics. It was just about getting out and being with people who are like-minded. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. If you want to just go out and hang out with your feminist friends, have fun. But I don't like the fact that it's being promoted as this giant movement to promote women's rights and equality and blah, 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 when in reality it's just a photo op, virtue signaling, post on social media opportunity. That's really all it is. It's just an opportunity to get out of doing work on your Saturday afternoon, or not going to a program, or having a reason to say that you're a good person. And you know what? If they were to say, just admit that, I wouldn't have a problem with the march. I would just say, go ahead and do it if you feel you have to, but that's what I realized then. And I know the title of this video is The Women's March is Pointless, and the reason why I said that is because when I went there, I realized no actual conversation was being had. Individuals who wanted to have a conversation, like some of the MAGA supporters and stuff like that, or who were on the side, were getting shouted at, or just outright being ignored. So no one was there to have a conversation, and everybody was there just to promote their incorrect political ideas, or just try to take a selfie. So yeah, that's why the Women's March is kind of pointless. And you know what? If you don't agree, you don't agree, but that's just my opinion, and that's how I felt that day. And I hope you guys have a great day. If you want more videos like this, let me know. I have a lot of free time now. So yeah, stay zesty.